Welcome to Hello English Teacher. Today let's look at the second half of the line by line explanation of the chapter Journey to the End of the World. So we saw how the author was talking about going to Antarctica because Antarctica is the best place to understand about our past, present and future. Now, let's continue. Climate change is one of the most hotly contested environmental debates of our time. Yes, nowadays, wherever you see, people are talking only about the climate change and what all it causes to the environment. So, we all need to understand that climate change is a very serious issue and it is happening because of all the changes that we humans do on this earth. Will the West Antarctic ice sheet melt entirely? So she's raising a concern whether the ice sheets from the Antarctic continent will melt. If it all melts, what will happen? It's going to be much warmer. Will the Gulf Stream ocean current be disrupted? So, will there be a disruption or will there be a destruction or damage or interference in the ocean current, in the oceans? Will it be the end of the world as we know it? Maybe, maybe not. So, what she's asking, all these changes can possibly bring an end to the end of the world, or it can cause the world to be no more. Maybe or maybe not. Either way, Antarctica is a crucial element in this debate. So she's saying whether the Earth comes to an end or not, Antarctica is very crucial, means very important in this debate because Antarctica has a lot of importance, and once we go there, we will really be able to understand what is the future of the earth. Not just because it's the only place in the world which has never sustained a human population and therefore remains relatively pristine in this respect. So she says that it's not because it's the only place in the world where humans have never been and therefore it remains relatively pristine, means very fresh and newly new, it has a new look. But more importantly, because it holds in its ice cores half million year old carbon records trapped in its layers of ice. So not only because it is fresh and looking new because there is no human beings on Antarctica, it also has a lot of old carbon records trapped in its ice layers. So if we study these carbon records itself, we will get a lot of information about the Earth. So what do you mean by carbon records? It's nothing but the information about the carbon levels in the atmosphere. Now, Student on Ice, the program I was working on, the Shokalski, aims to do exactly this by taking high school students to the ends of the world and providing them with inspiring educational opportunities which will help them to foster a new understanding and respect for our planet. So she was working on a Russian vessel, and the program that was running on in that Russian ship is called Student on Ice program. And this program, the aim of this program is to take high school students to the end of the world. Ends of the world means one is Antarctica, and provide them with inspiring educational opportunities. So once they are taking these children to these places, it is an educational opportunity for them because they'll be able to understand the environment, what they have to do, what are the changes taking place in the world, and this will help them to foster a new understanding, means create a new understanding about the earth itself, and this itself will create a huge respect for our planet. So once they know the importance of the changes going around, the students will certainly understand the importance of all the changes and they will start beginning to respect our planet. It's been in operation for 6 years now, headed by Canadian Geoff Green, who got tired of carting celebrities and retired rich curiosity seekers who could only give back in a limited way. So, this program, Student on Ice, was actually started by a Canadian called Geoff Green. He started this program some 6 years ago. And what happened first, initially, he used to take celebrities and rich people and simply curious people who just wanted to have a look around to these places. So he understood that these people do not give back much. That means there is no use of actually taking these people to such places. With Student on Ice, he offers the future generation of policy makers a life changing experience at an age when they are ready to absorb, learn, and most importantly, act. So then he understood that instead of taking these retired people, the rich people, or curious people, it is always better to take the students because they are the future generation and they are the policy makers of the future. So once they go to Antarctica, they will have a life changing experience because they are always ready to absorb. Absorb means understand the facts that are happening around them, and they will learn new things, and most importantly they will act in the sense they will take the responsibility and try to do whatever they can to stop all the changes that are leading towards negativity or whatsoever. So they are the ones who will be responsible and who will be ready to take care of the earth. So that's why he thought taking students is much better than taking celebrities to Antarctica. The reason the program has been so successful is because it's impossible to go anywhere near the South Pole and not be affected by it. So, why the Student on Ice program is very important and why it is so successful? Because anybody who has gone to the South Pole, anybody who has gone to Antarctica will come back by learning a lot of things. They will have a lot of changes and they will definitely be affected by what is happening there. So that is why people, the students are really interested to go there and study the future of the earth, and they're always ready to take up the action in order to protect the earth. It's easy to blaze about polar ice caps melting while sitting in the comfort zone of our respective latitude and longitude. So she's saying that it is very easy to blase about. Blase about means to be indifferent about. See, once you're sitting in the comfort zone of your house, you do not bother about what is happening in Antarctica. You are much least bothered about how much ice is melting because it does not affect you any near. Okay, but when you can visibly see glaciers retreating and ice shelves collapsing, you begin to realize that the threat of global warming is very real. But when you are in Antarctica, when you see with your eyes that how big pieces of ice are retreating, glaciers are retreating means falling down, and how big shelves of ice are collapsing, that means falling away from their places, then you really will understand that the threat of global warming, that means the global temperature is really increasing. So you will really come to understand and experience this if you go to Antarctica. Antarctica, because of a simple ecosystem and lack of biodiversity. So Antarctica has a very simple ecosystem because there are no human beings there, there are no plants and trees and animals like how we have in our place. And the lack of biodiversity, that's what, there are no different kinds of plants and animals and human beings. So it is a perfect place to study how little changes in the environment can have big repercussions. So it is very easy for anyone who goes there to see the small changes and what effect, repercussions means what effects these will have on the planet. Take the microscopic phytoplankton. Phytoplankton is nothing but the microscopic plants found in the ocean in those areas. Those grasses of the sea that nourish and sustain the entire Southern Ocean's food chain. So these phytoplanktons are responsible for nourishing the food chain in the Southern Ocean. These single cell plants use sun's energy to assimilate carbon and synthesize organic compounds in that wondrous and most important processes called photosynthesis. So these phytoplanktons, they indulge in photosynthesis using carbon and all the other organic compounds, and they prepare the food, and they are themselves a part of food for all the marine organisms in that area. So scientists warn that in a further depletion in the ozone layer, will affect the activities of the phytoplankton. So the scientists are giving us a warning. What is the warning? They say that if the ozone layer is depleted more, what is layer depletion? If the ozone layer is still reduced or if it still has more holes because of the carbon emissions, it will affect the activity of the phytoplanktons because phytoplanktons can be destroyed by the UV rays which are otherwise controlled by the ozone layer, which in turn will affect the life of all the marine animals and birds of the region and the global carbon cycle. So, if the phytoplanktons are affected, it will affect the life of the marine animals and the birds of that Antarctic region, and the global carbon cycle will also be affected. So, in the parable of the phytoplankton, so in the story of the phytoplankton, there is a possibility, there is a metaphor of existence. So there is a possibility of existence. Take care of small things and the big things will fall into place. So the narrator says that you must take care of the smaller things. If the small things are taken care of, the bigger things will fall in place, means will automatically fall in place or will take place. So if you take care of the phytoplanktons in that area, the full marine cycle food chain itself will be intact. No harm will be done to them. Walk on the ocean. My Antarctic experience was full of such epiphanies. So the narrator says that her Antarctic experience was full of such epiphanies. Epiphanies means realization. That means she understood a lot of things after she visited Antarctica. But the best occurred just short of the Arctic Circle at 65.55 degrees south. And she says that the best realization or understanding happened at this point called near the Antarctic Circle, which is at 65.55 degrees south. The Shokalski had managed to wedge herself. So the ship called Shokalski had managed to wedge herself, means got stuck in the ice in a V shape because the edge of the ship could be V shape. So it went and got stuck in the ice and in a wedge shape into a thick white stretch of ice between the peninsula and Tadpole Island, which was preventing us from going any further. So, since the ship got stuck in between these two, the ship could not move any further. The captain decided we were all going to turn around and head back north. So first the captain decided that okay, we have to turn around and go back. But before we did, we were all instructed to climb down the gangplank. So before turning around and going, the captain decided that they all can have a walk on the ocean. So he asked everyone to climb down a gangplank. Gangplank is nothing but a long plant plank of wood, a wooden plank that can be used to step or walk upon and walk on the ocean. So from climbing down from the ship to the ocean, this plank was used. So there were all 52 of us kitted out in Gore-Tex. So there were 52 people altogether. They kitted out in Gore-Tex means they all wore all the protective gear, and glares means sunglasses, walking on a stark whiteness. So they had to walk on a very strong white atmosphere because it was fully covered with ice that seemed to spread out forever. So wherever they see, it was only white in color. Underneath our feet was a meter thick of ice pack. So they were stepping on ice. Actually, it was the ocean whose layer had frozen. So about a meter thick of water had been frozen and they were so able to walk on that. And underneath that 180 meters of living, breathing salt water. So under that 1 meter thick of ice, there was the living and breathing salt water. That means all the marine animals were still in that water. In the periphery, crab-eater seals were stretching and sunning themselves. So in the periphery means while walking on the ocean, towards the border, towards the place towards the end of that ice, they could see seals. They were sunning and stretching themselves. That means they were relaxing on ice floes, much like stray dogs will do under the shade of a banyan tree. Like in our places, how the dogs sit under the banyan tree, how they sit in the shade and relax. Like that, in Antarctica, she saw the seals stretching and sunning themselves on ice packs or icebergs that were there on the ocean. So it was nothing short of a revelation. Everything does indeed correct connect. So she says that once if you go to Antarctica, you will understand a lot of things, and there is a connect between everything in the world. So 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and many ecospheres later, I was still wondering about the beauty of balance in play on our planet. So again, while coming back from Antarctica to Madras, she had to cross all the 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, and 3 bodies of water, and many ecospheres as well. She was wondering how everything is in balance on this planet. How would it be if Antarctica were to become a warm place that it once used to be? So she was wondering, will the place Antarctica be warm again like how it used to be previously, some 650 million years ago? So will we be around to see it? And she's asking, if it becomes a warm place, will we all be alive to see that? Or would we have gone the way of the dinosaurs, mammoths, and woolly rhinos? So, will we also be extinct by the time the whole Earth becomes warmer or Antarctica becomes warmer? Who's to say? So, who can say that? She's asking. But after spending 2 weeks with a bunch of teenagers who still have the idealism to save the world, all I can say is that a lot can happen in a million years. So she says that she was very happy to be around Antarctica with a bunch of teenagers because the teenagers were always ready to learn and they're always eager to take up action to save the world. And she is very happy to say that many things can happen over a million of years. Many changes can happen indeed with millions of years. But what a difference a day makes. So even a day can make some difference. That's what she says. Because after being there for a few days, she has understood so much. So she says that even a day can make some difference in our lives. So I hope you like the explanation. For more interesting and informative videos, subscribe to Hello English Teacher. Thank you for watching.